Okay, this is the second video I'm producing about solving equations. This will deal with the multiplication and addition, or multiplication and division equations. So from the previous video, talked about our goals. We're trying to find out what the missing value is. So in our example here, we want to know what n is. Negative 8 times what will give us 96. And again, our rules, or maybe it's I've given you, is we're going to want to do the opposite. And so that we want to do that, and then we also want to make sure we do the same thing to both sides. Because it's an equation, however we change one side, in order to keep the two sides equal, we got to do the same thing to both sides. And the big thing I want you to make sure you remember is that we're not talking about, you got to make sure you understand what's going on here. We're saying that this side of the equal sign is equal to this side. So they're the same. Okay, we don't know it, but what's n have to be in order for it to be the same? Okay, to make that true. Okay, and maybe some people would know. Some people know their facts pretty well. I think it's a 12 is the multiplication, but otherwise we're talking about a process. So in order to a process we can use to work this out is we can do the opposite. Okay, do the opposite. So the opposite of what is, what I mean that is what's happening to the variable. Here it is negative 8 times n. Okay, so the opposite operation of times negative 8 is divide by negative 8. And I'm gonna do that as actually we'll do it this way so it's a little clearer. Otherwise we could do it as a fraction bar. So divide negative 8. Okay. And negative 8 divided by negative 8 times negative 8 divided by negative 8 ends up giving us just 1 times n. Okay. Negative 8 divided by negative 8 is 1. Okay. Now, because it's equal, if we want to make sure we keep that relationship, keep that they're equal to each other, we've got to do the exact same thing the other side. So divide by negative 8 also. 96 divided by negative 8, and that's going to be negative 12. Okay, and if you need a calculator for that, that's quite all right. Now, 1 times anything is just n, and negative 12 equals negative 12. So, as I said in the previous video, we can check then. Beautiful thing about equations, we can check them out. And so if I'm right, then I should be able to take negative 8 times negative 12. And when I multiply that, that should equal 96, which it does. So works just like just calculator work. Okay. So the next example, let's do a division problem. So example. Okay. And I'm going to use a fraction bar to show my division here. So it's going to be, let's call it C. C divided by 5 equals, okay, equals, let's say 15, okay? Now you gotta be real careful on a problem like this because realize we're saying something divided by 5 is gonna equal 15. We wanna figure out what do we have to divide by 5. And some people will jump at this one and do their intuitive and say, hey, it's gotta be 3 because 3 times 5 is 15. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying something, so it's probably gonna be bigger than 15 and 5. Something divided by, cut into 5 equal parts is gonna equal 15. So if I have 5 equal parts of 15, what's that total have to be that I'm going to have? So you can maybe intuitive this out, and some people might figure it out. It's 75. Otherwise, if we follow the rules here, do the opposite. Well, the opposite of times 5, or divide by 5 is times 5. So I'm going to multiply by 5 over here. Multiply by 5. Okay. And by going times 5 divided by 5, that cancels that out. Okay. And so I'm left with C divided by 1. Okay, and then I got to do the exact same thing here. 15 times 5, which is, as I said before, 75. Now, C divided by 1 is just C, so really this step here is just showing you what's really happening. You could skip it. You could just say, oh, when I divide by 5, it cancels the 5s out, and basically I'm just left with C, which is now I have the variable by itself. I can see what it is. And C's got to equal 75. I'm not doing anything else over there. And again, the check, I should be able to take and say, okay, then 75C, 75 divided by 5 should equal 15. So my check, 75 divided by 5, and yeah, that's 15. So that's correct. Okay? And so there's a process of doing it on these problems too.